This is High Vibe TV, the uncensored, guided, and community-based video TV network with content recorded and live streamed from the world-famous High Vibe TV studios. High Vibe TV delivers daily, weekly, and special programs focused on astrology, spirituality, history, community, and more. This is not your run-of-the-mill astrology and tarot. This is the future of spirituality, illuminating new ways the collective can step into the dawning of this exciting new dimension. The highest vibe is truth, and the truth always prevails. Download our awesome app on the Apple and Android stores so you don't miss our notifications, with special spiritual insights curated to the energy of the universe. Search for us on your TV with our exciting TV apps on Apple TV and Roku. Catch our vibe on your computer, where you can join in on the live chat with our amazing community and blog. Watch spirituality like you've never seen before. Download our apps or go to highvibe.tv. Subscribe now.
1994, January 17th, 27 degrees Capricorn, Northridge earthquake.
That was the last big one.
The end of Saturn in Aquarius.
Oh.
We are coming to the end of Saturn in Aquarius, and 27 degrees is exactly where Pluto is on this week. The last time we'll ever see it here. It is bringing up the Northridge earthquake. We've just seen big earthquakes in NorCal. Now all the rain is seeping into all the earth and adding weight and adding snow and all these things. And I said I would not be surprised if Saturn at the end of Aquarius happens to be a big earthquake that we remember, where fucking freeways fall down and shit. I showed everybody the Northridge earthquake. They had never known how bad it was. Like,
oh, see, there was a tele movie that was made and I remember watching. And so I think I've said this before on the show. I've said it to someone here if I didn't say it on the show. When I used to drive downtown a lot to the fashion district for a girlfriend of mine, and whenever I was driving, and you know how I think it's when you're on the 10.
Yep.
And you're driving down and they've got the overpass, but it essentially runs right over the top. So it's not like it's one quick thing going across. You're actually driving for a while under it. I always sat in the far right lane so that if the big one came while I was on that freeway, I would not be pancaked. And I know it's stupid, but from what I remember of the movie that was made was all the overpasses collapsing on each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Here you go. Fucking, yeah.
Yeah, that is scary.
Yeah. Oh, I was showing people, like, you know, these apartments that are like these older ones from the 50s, 60s, 70s. This is the 10 right here when it came down.
See? Exactly what I'm talking about.
You know, and like boom, everywhere.
Because there were people that got pancaked but survived.
Oh, a lot of people died.
Oh, no, I know a lot of people died.
This was the craziest. I remember seeing this on the news. That was like up in Simi Valley or somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah, or Westlake Village or something like that. And that was, remember, in 94, that was brand new. See the blue or the green, the teal? That was hot. That was like,
so 90s.
That was so 90. That was like built in like 92 or 93. And that was like, fuck yeah, that is a nice parking lot. Now, right? Look at this. Oh, do you have your mask? Sorry. But, you know, like, this is the kind of shit that, you know, like, when I'm showing people, like, when I lived here and I've been there, this shit fucking was scary.
So
this shit was scary. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this shit fucking, as a kid, you're like, okay, that's a fucking earthquake. All right, I get it now. You know what I mean? Like, and then the gas in the streets and the blowing up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the crazy shit is in the middle of the streets, all the fucking shit. So, yeah, you know, the astrology of this is coming back hard on this month.
Okay, so
I mean, you know, like,
do you see it happening if it was to happen again?
NorCal.
Well, and that's what I said, because a friend from the UK messaged me, and I don't remember what he'd watched, but he said to me just something about earthquakes. He goes, can you just be careful? Like, I worry about you. And I said, do you know what? I don't feel that I'll be affected. Even if it happens, I feel like it'll be NorCal. I don't feel like it'll be down here again.
It'll be, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, even they've been saying the percent chance of the big one since 1907. Now that those two, there was another earthquake last week, and then 2 weeks ago there was a big one. right there, fucking in Humboldt County. So this is where there's so many different tectonic plates and so many different fault lines, and that fault line is going to trigger the San Andreas for NorCal. The pressure they're saying down here is not that bad. It's up there that it's been waiting to fucking bust, like a Northridge. There's different shifts, right? This would be like a Northridge one, like a fucking where when they do this, it's like a rumble. But when they do this, when they go like that, that's what's about to happen. Just where the whole fucking area just goes boom. It's nuts.
So
I know the feeling above. And then when it does that, you literally, there's no rolling waves. It fucking is like you are in a fucking Cracker Jack box and you're the little fucking toy in there, and fucking some little kids at a baseball game shaking that motherfucker, and everything just goes and the streets go crack, and fucking you hear gas pipes go psst, psst. It's fucking nuts. I lived through that shit. It's fucking nuts.
So
it's fucking fun. I love that shit. Shit gets me fucking pumped up. Fuck using HGH or any of these fucking steroids. Just go through a Northridge fucking earthquake as a kid and fucking be like, yeah, I fucking survived that motherfucker.
Okay, so just for clarity, I'm not laughing at the earthquake. I'm laughing at him.
But that's just the way it is. Like, you know, that shit rattled me up. My fucking grandparents, I was staying with I was so pissed because my brother and I were like, what the fuck? Our parents went to fucking Vegas. And so they dropped us off at our grandparents. And so my brother and I are sleeping together in the fucking little double bed in the guest room at our grandparents' house. Like, I want to be home on my bike. Fucking Northwoods earthquake. Boom! You know what I mean? And it's like, I remember when the aftershocks hit, I was like, fuck this, I ain't staying in this old fucking house. And I'm like 10 years old. I'm like, the aftershocks hit, which was like a 5.9. And my brother and I just said, fuck this, we're running outside. And we just ran outside. And then we were like, my Oma was like, oh, that's cool. You know, like, and we were like, yeah, fuck it. And my brother and I was like, fucking call that was before cell phones. You know, I think they had an air touch, but you don't turn it on because it's like fucking $100 a call. And fucking, I'm like, fucking call in the fucking hotel, like the Luxor that was brand new. I'm like, Mom! Dad, when are you coming home? We're coming home soon, but there's fucking all this shit and freeways are closed. And I'm like, oh no. Off-road that fucking Suburban, Pops, you know, like fucking get me home. But yeah, that's the cool part. I don't know. I love earthquakes.
Because you're a weirdo.
No, that's, you know what an earthquake is? It's a sign that, okay, we're going to be good for a long time.
Well, this is true. That is true.
There's something, when you're a Californian and you've been through a lot of earthquakes, you're like, it's over and I'm okay. All right.
I will say, every time there has been an earthquake, so it wasn't until I moved here that, and I experienced an earthquake in Japan, but it was so sort of small, I thought the bus was just moving. I didn't realize it was an earthquake. In Melbourne, I experienced, there are 3 that I remember, but it wasn't until I moved here that I discovered there are 2 types of earthquakes. You've got the rolling one, and we had the Northridge one, obviously not the Northridge you're talking about, but Northridge, it was July 4th and then July 5th.
Yes.
So that would have had to have been 2019 because my best friend was still living
I got divorced
next door.
that day.
Yes, I remember you saying. But so the first...
And so earthquakes are signs.
Right. So the first one, though, I'm on the toilet. And it starts and I can hear the water sloshing and I'm going, there is something...
Yeah, it was like right before sunset. It was like 6:30 p.m.
No, I feel like it was earlier. She was coming back. We weren't ready to go out because
Or maybe it was like... No, because I remember I got divorced at 5 p.m. And then I drove back up to Huntington Beach from Laguna Beach and I was crying.
On July 5th.
On July 5th.
Yeah, see, so that was the second one. But the
big
first
one.
but the first one, I'm sitting on the toilet and I had not just peed. And I hear the water sloshing and I feel the whole whoo, and I'm like, if this is the big one, this is not where I want to be. And I remember getting off that toilet really fast and I just sort of hung on to the bench in my bathroom. And I'm like, okay. Anyway, I call my girlfriend when it's over.
Door panel.
Yeah, no, I know, but I was waiting to see if it got bigger. I was just kind of like...
Or just run outside.
I had no pants on because I was about...
I mean, who cares?
going to get in the shower.
Somebody will record it and say, give me the recording and sell it on OnlyFans. Make a bunch of money.
But, so we go through that one and I'm like, I feel seasick for about 30 minutes afterwards because it was...
Yeah, those rollers do that.
Yeah, and then the next one happened Guess where I was? On the toilet again, except I had just peed. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is not how I'm going out. But every time there is an earthquake and I'm home, Bumble looks at me. I generally strike a weird position. I sort of get ready to run to get him under the dining table or into one of the door frames. But I always kind of wait to see if it's getting any bigger, and I kind of just freeze.
Yeah, this is you on the bathroom. Ah! Fucking Tower of Terror. This picture, I remember this one a lot. Like the cars.
Oh, it's horrible.
The cars that were just crunched. Like, look at here's down. That's West Side. There's the West Side. Boom. Like just straight fucking. Like it was just like, I remember them just being like, well, okay, that sucks. I used to drive on those freeways as a kid. I remember being like, fuck. And then that's what they've been doing. Or like, think about all the like Malibu homes and stuff and all that. Like but San Francisco though is the one that's waiting for the big one.
Well,
everything's coming in this whole 100 years. 100 years since fucking we saw this. 100 years since we saw. Oh shit! I think it's about 100 years since the great fucking earthquake of San Francisco and the fire that took out the whole city.
Wow!
And that city's already ready for fucking its cleansing. Let's say so.
I will say though, after those two from Northridge that I talked about that were rolling. The next one that we got, I thought a train was coming, and then I realized I didn't live near a train line, but it was one of the ones where it goes up and down and sort of throws you around a little bit.
Right.
And I remember that happened, and I've trained my neighbor that if there is an earthquake, he has to message me or call me and say, are you okay? And that one happened earlier in the evening, so I hear from the other side of the courtyard, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, thank you. But I went, what was that? I heard it. And he's like, yeah, those are those ones that sort of throw you up and down. That was a little bit shocking for me as someone that didn't grow up with them.
So since we're on earthquake stories, I just have one, and it was with my dad, and I'll never forget it. It was fucking crazy. So we were on our way to Laughlin, Nevada, and it must have been this Hector Mine one. It was a 7.1, but I remember it was huge.
7.1 is massive.
Yeah. Like, was that the Hector Mine details? Mojave Desert. So in 99, Alex Stein, fucking 99. I like my Pfizer. Okay. There was a 7.1 earthquake in the Mojave Desert. Well, my dad and I just so happened to be there.
Of course you did.
We were in Laughlin, and we were and if people don't know Laughlin, Laughlin is the Vegas in Nevada that's on the river. Okay. And I was in, if you do images of Laughlin.
Okay, so I didn't even know this place existed.
Oh yeah. So this is
pretty.
Laughlin, Nevada, right? It's on the Arizona-Nevada border. I have been here many times, and I was at the top of the oldest one, the River Slime, as my dad and I called it. This is the Riverside Hotel, the first one. What's crazy about this place is the owner of it, Don Laughlin, who created Laughlin, got old, had a lot of money, married a woman, and that woman, and he had a big suite he lived at the top of that thing, and then she got left it, and she just lived up there, did coke, drugs, and never left it, right? So this is a weird place. My dad and I are like at the top of this motherfucker, and I wake up to that fucking 7.1 earthquake, and the whole fucking building, because it's on rollers.
Yeah.
I see the fucking lake, the river, and then I see the sky. See the river? See the sky. And my dad and I are just like in there going, well, there's no door panels and no that. We just have to go through because they're all on rollers, right? Everything.
Yeah.
To do that, and we're like this, and then you go like that, and then you're like this, and then you go like that. And everybody was like, my dad and I were like, I can't believe we just went through this motherfucker, because everybody didn't feel it because in LA or anything, because it was out there at the Hector Mine, fucking like right by fucking Laughlin out there, and fucking that shit was nuts. 7.1. Remember, 6.7 was Northridge.
That was
so I've gone through all the big ones. I'm like, I every single one I hit. I'm like, okay, so if I'm around, just know that you have a chance of being in the fucking big one.
Awesome. Awesome.
Because the universe is just like, hey, you got South Node Uranus. You're going to go through fucking earthquakes this life. I'm like, okay, that's me. So yeah, fucking, I love that shit though. That shit fucking, I am an earthquake equipped. Been through it all.
The 94 Northridge one, my neighbor he'd been dating some woman apparently, and she was spending the night at his place. He was in a high rise in Santa Monica, and he said we went to bed because it happened in the early hours or something, didn't it? So
Northridge happened at like 2:33 in the morning.
Yeah. So they had gone to bed. He gets woken up by the earthquake, and same thing, the building's on rollers. So the building swaying, all of that. She sleeps through the whole thing, but apparently earlier that night she'd been saying, I've never felt an earthquake. I'd like to feel one.
My brother woke me up on that one.
Yeah. So then he woke her up and he's like, we just had a massive earthquake. She's like, and I missed it. She didn't feel it.
Wow, that means she slept along, because that was like a 2.5 minute earthquake. That's the other thing, is that magnitude might not be as important, but the length of them.
Well, that was going to be my question, because all the ones I've lived through here.
Like Northridge was
30
where you were
seconds.
like, I cannot believe this is still happening.
Ugh.
I remember sitting there as a kid going like, it's still going, and it's not, and it's building up more. And when you start hearing the psst, psst, and the house start fucking cracking and all that shit, you're like, holy shit, you know? I love that shit. That shit's like the shit that keeps you alive. My dad and I were laughing our ass off on the fucking shit.
I can imagine you and your dad
We
laughing
were
to
laughing
that.
so hard, like that was fucking crazy. And fucking my dad was like, okay, let's go downstairs and fucking gamble. What can we can't lose now. And so like, you know, like I was 16, but like, or whatever, but I'm like, whatever, you know. Like my dad, we always found a way to like get me to do shit. We always found a way. But that's what, I feel like earthquakes are a beautiful thing. They wake up everybody. They make people come together like Uranus does, right? And they make people go, oh my God. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this month into maybe the beginning of February, but the fact that Pluto is exactly on the degree of the sun of the Northridge earthquake for California, and that we have all this energy, and Mars is on the Uranus of America. And I said that the next earthquake that's going to happen is going to be one that will be remembered. Like, you know, we've been having all these, but they're like not remembered. They're not big stories. They're not like, they're not imprinted. This is going to be an imprint earthquake. I mean, even think of Jupiter when it was around the zone 12 years ago in 2011 was the Fukushima earthquake. So we are in earthquake fuckingville everywhere in the astrology for the big one that will be listed on a fucking, well, when all the power goes out years from now, it won't be on Wikipedia anymore, but people will be telling and passing it down, and then it will be like a big fish story. It'll be the biggest earthquake that there ever was 2,000 years from now. But like, you know, that's coming. Where it will strike, there's possibilities. They're talking about Utah right now too. That just came out.
Really?
Oh yeah. So
Well, the other thing is you talking about how it could be the biggest one we've ever seen, you know, the one to remember. And with all of these huge markers
and all
in
the
history,
religious stuff.
right? But with all these huge markers in history, even where you were when Diana died, and I don't know how that was for Americans, but every Australian, you can say, where were you when Princess Diana died?
I was eating oatmeal.
Well, there you go. So the accident happened, I was getting ready for work, and I'd asked my boyfriend, it was a Sunday, and I'd said to him, you know, can you bring me a cup of tea? And normally he was quite responsive because he knows I'm not good in the mornings. And he and his mum were sitting on his bed watching the TV, and then again, it was before cell phones. So he was calling me at work through the day, giving me updates, but the whole centre of Melbourne was dead. And people would come in and go, why is the vibe so weird? And we're like, you don't know. And you tell them and they would just go, I don't know what to do. I think I have to go home. It was really weird. But
Americans, it was like O.J. Simpson was more intense.
right, of course.
You know what I mean? Like,
But we've got these markers. But in the last couple of years, we've had COVID, and I refuse to call it the pandemic because I just don't believe it was a pandemic, so I call it COVID. We had the BLM riots. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you agree or disagree, LA was getting torched. And I'm sitting there going, how the hell is this real life? You know, you remember where you were when all these things were happening. And so it makes sense that, and we saw Donald Trump get elected as president, which everybody said was impossible.
Right.
And he did it. So we've had all these huge things, and it does feel like it's building. go back to the zit thing, it feels like it's building.
Right. That everything that this has been the last 3 years is encompassed in a huge fucking cyst zit.
Dr. Pimple Popper.
We've been just
stuff.
seeing the clear shit that we can't get to the white shit yet. And it looks horrible. But finally, there's that little break in the skin. And it's like sliding on that one side where you finally get the big sack. And it just is ready to just push and just boom!
This is High Vibe TV, the uncensored, guided, and community-based video TV network with content recorded and live streamed from the world-famous High Vibe TV studios. High Vibe TV delivers daily, weekly, and special programs focused on astrology, spirituality, history, community, and more. This is not your run-of-the-mill astrology and tarot. This is the future of spirituality, illuminating new ways the collective can step into the dawning of this exciting new dimension. The highest vibe is truth, and the truth always prevails. Download our awesome app on the Apple and Android stores so you don't miss our notifications with special spiritual insights curated to the energy of the universe. Search for us on your TV with our exciting TV apps on Apple TV and Roku. Catch our vibe on your computer where you can join in on the live chat with our amazing community and blog. Watch spirituality like you've never seen before. Download our apps or go to highvibe.tv. Subscribe now.